people believe that racism, it's non-existent. Most people believe that our nation overcame racism, and unfortunately, minorities, they know differently because they deal with it regularly on a daily basis. One time, like when I was pulled over, my boyfriend, who is black, he was with me in the passenger, and I gathered all the stuff I needed, like the registration, license, and everything that you would need when you get pulled over. To my surprise, the officer didn't want that. The first thing he did was question the passenger, who was black, and wanted to know what he was out doing. I feel like that's very unfair, that people in power, such as an officer, demeans people like that. You know, that it hurts whenever you question someone who's not doing anything wrong and you're treating them like they have done something wrong. Of course, we all know the struggles of our history. It's obviously not as bad as it once was, although we've had laws passed to give all citizens equality. It's still an issue for minorities. And in 1964, on July 2nd, that's when they passed the Civil Rights Act. It was signed into law by our then President, Lyndon Johnson. He signed a paper. That's what it's like when they sign it into law. They sign the paper. You know, it's just a piece of paper they sign. It was supposed to put a stop to discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, or national origin. Here it is 55 years later, and it's still an issue. Like with the recent issues with law enforcement, police officers are using racial profiling and assuming because of the way that a person appears, they're a criminal or they're dangerous. Young black men, they're still children. They're being killed because they are black. That's basically because they're black. They may have a phone or a brush in their hand, and the police officers are shooting them because they're just assuming, because of the way they look and they have something in their hand, they're just assuming it's a gun. And it's awful, you know. They're pulling people over for wrong reasons instead of legitimate probable causes. With that being said, there's a lot of discrimination people have to deal with that a lot of people don't even realize is an issue. This involves more than the police and their racial profiling. Minorities they're being charged higher interest rates when purchasing a car, with their credit report not being a factor. When applying for jobs, there's been studies that show those with stereotypically white names get 50% more callbacks than those with stereotypical black names. And that's no matter the qualifications. All things being considered, thinking back to those who had messages like Tupac Shakur, he dealt with injustices in our system. And he said, you know, it's time for us as a people, we have to start making some changes. Basically, it's up to us as a united front to make the changes necessary to beat the prejudices and inequality in the world. And that's what I meant when I said that the act that they signed into law, they just signed a piece of paper. It does not make any difference, really. You know, it's up to us. We have to make sure these changes occur. As you can see, 55 years later, we are still dealing with these injustices. So, like President Barack Obama said, you know, yes, we can. We have to pull together. We have to make these changes. So, that's basically what I wanted to say. Thank you so much.